Ayo, welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. And alongside me, as always, is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's a CHGO White Sox community leader. We are here after a White Sox win. The White Sox win 7-1. They didn't keep you in that much suspense in this game. It was a little rocky. I didn't really feel too comfortable with it, but the White Sox started blowing the game open in the bottom of the 6th and the bottom of the 8th inning. Johnny Cueto gets the win. Daniel Megdiden gets the loss for the Royals.
Not going to know your name anymore.
Daniel not going to be on the team anymore. Daniel, why didn't who is it? Who's our guy?
Brad Keller start.
Why didn't Brad Keller start this game? What's going on here?
Because they have a bad manager in Mike Matheny, who, as our guy Nick from Locked On Sox said, is a Tony La Russa protege. So that could be the answer.
Why he's bad?
Why he's bad and why he does dumb things like start a guy that hasn't started this year, while you have a perfectly good starter, Brad Keller, versus the White Sox. Usually he's good. I mean, his last start for the White Sox wasn't that great, but usually Brad Keller goes out and gives you quality starts versus the White Sox.
Right. Seemingly the Royals have moved Brad Keller to a bullpen role after his August 13th start. He hasn't made a start since that day, but we were going over the games that Brad Keller has pitched against the White Sox. April 28th, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 1 home run. The Royals won that game 5-2. May 16th, he goes 7 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. The Royals lose that one 3-5. And then on August 2nd, the Royals lost 2-9 in his start. He went 5 2/3, 13 hits, 8 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So I think mainly is they just kept hitting him more and more. They go from hitting him only 3 times to 8 times to 13 times. Maybe that's the reason, but we know the White Sox struggles against right-handers. I'm surprised they didn't pick the guy with at least more of a resume in Brad Keller over Megdiden.
I mean, Daniel Megdiden was trash. He had a decent fastball, but his curveball was just hanging the whole game. White Sox didn't get to him until the second time around the order where they were just crushing those balls. So I knew that was trash, and that wouldn't last for a long time because he's only pitched 4 1/3 innings in the major leagues with Kansas City this year. I would have started Brad Keller and rolled dice and see if he can get a quality start again versus the White Sox. He only had 1 bad start versus the White Sox this year, and the 2 others were good, as you said. So I'm glad that we have a dumb manager out there in Kansas City and Mike Matheny. Keep it going, even though they beat us 10 games to 9 this year.
Even though they've won this season series. Let's look at the positive spin, though. You're Herbie Sunshine. Matthew Cortese saying undefeated in September, all right? The Sox are 1-0, and apparently they had a players' meeting before today's game, a players-only meeting, and this is the second players-only meeting or players meeting this week, and this is the first players-only meeting where apparently the message was to have fun. Did you have fun watching the Sox today?
It was fun. It was a little better than it usually is. The White Sox battered Megdiden around. They got to Brad Keller eventually after 2 innings of pitching, and they hit the ball of the wall like they've done all this series. 3 in Tuesday's game, 2 yesterday, and 2 today, where they could have had 3 if not for the heroics of the right fielder out there for Kansas City who hit that ball. A.J. Pollock hit the ball opposite field again. His home run yesterday, opposite field. The ball that got robbed, opposite field, and then the home run that actually went over the fence, opposite field to right field. So maybe A.J. Pollock's figuring a couple things out. We heard Steve Stone a couple days ago saying that A.J. was getting a lot of pull happy, and then he grounds the ball into a 5-6 or 5-4-3 double play like the next pitch. Maybe A.J. heard what Steve was saying and has a concerted effort to take the ball the other way. And now he sees he has enough power to get the ball over the fence. Keep on going. Now pitchers would probably try to jam him inside and then he can use his pull happiness to left field and hit that ball with the fence, because he's not been the player that we were promised when they got traded over here in April.
No, and I mean, even defensively, he's been weak. There was a play, I forget, it was setting Steven off into a rage at one point.
He didn't hustle or something?
Well, no, it was the play up the middle where the ball is hit up the middle. Gavin Sheets and A.J. Pollock converge on it. A.J. Pollock comes up and ends up taking the ball, but he ends up coming up slow on the ball and then completely missing both cutoff guys, it going to the catcher, and then them allowing to move up and advance. I think then they ended up having it was MJ Melendez who hit the ball. Melendez ended up going from first to second on the throw, and the Royals ended up putting guys on second and third.
And it took away the force out with one out in the inning too. So that's what I really hated about it. Go ahead, Herb.
But you know what happened after that?
What happened?
Johnny Cueto stepped up and got the next two guys out, because Johnny Cueto is want to do. Pick up his teammates when his teammates make errors, and when he makes errors himself and gets people on base. More likely than not, Johnny Cueto gets out of those unscathed, and so he did it again today and helped his team grab this dub.
Well, I think, too, let's go to the top of the fifth, because I think that was just a really interesting inning. Drew Waters led off the inning, doubling to right, and then Nicky Lopez, local legend, grounded into a fielder's choice to Elvis Andrus, who's basically playing a shifted shortstop behind the second base bag. He gets the ball. Cueto is pointing, throw it to third, because Waters, who is on second, tries to go to third. Elvis nails him at third. Great play, great throw. They get out, and you really see the great defense in that first inning, and then it just unravels. Then, Melendez grounds up the middle. Lopez advances to third, and you have that A.J. Pollock play. So you have a great defensive play, and then exactly what the White Sox have always done, making a horrible defensive play. So, it's just so back and forth. You really don't know if you can trust this team, because I love seeing A.J. Pollock taking the ball the other way, but what we have seen from the White Sox is going the other way is a detriment to this team. Hey, I'm not going to be upset. They just hit 7 home runs in a 3-game series. That's fantastic for the White Sox, but you see the way A.J. Pollock went. I just don't think that's sustainable for his power. Now, Gavin Sheets hitting 2 home runs, pulling the ball. Eloy Jimenez pulling the ball for his homer. Elvis Andrus pulling the ball for his homer. Andrew Vaughn pulling the ball for his homer. Again, I'm not going to complain. But AJ, it's good that he is at least kind of getting back in that rhythm. I think that's what you're saying.
Yep.
Not just being so tendance to pull the ball, using the whole field. But again, I'm kind of fine if the White Sox want to be pull happy, because pull happy might mean more home runs.
Yeah, especially for our big-time power hitters. But for AJ to get back to the swing that he needs to, maybe going the other way will get him back to a regular swing. And our guy Jared, thank you for it. It was 2 line drives. 1 line drive right up the middle, but the White Sox were shifted perfectly right behind second base that they caught the ball. And then a line drive right to Lurie, who was playing perfectly at third base, to get out of that inning for Johnny Cueto. So the balls were hit hard, but right at people. So, yeah, Johnny Cueto, man, what can we say? Well, the man had a bad start versus Arizona. You went to the game, and that's probably why he was nervous that you were in attendance. He's like, I got to play well versus Sean. I know that he's been hyping me up this whole year. He wet the bed. Comes back today versus Kansas City in a game that the White Sox had to have. Showed up.
Well, and 2, one thing that I told you in the pregame, watch the velocity. If the velocity is there, Johnny Cueto will probably be successful. He was successful today, and he threw 53 pitches over 90 miles per hour, had a lot that hit 94 as well. So, again, bad game. Brush it off, came out, was great today. Let's look at the pitching lines. Johnny Cueto was real fun to watch today. I thought he could have gone longer. Miguel Cairo had some interesting bullpen decisions that we could talk about. Cueto goes 5 1/3, 1 earned run, 6 hits allowed, no walks, and 5 Ks. Our guy Daniel Megden going 2 2/3, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. Cueto, though, gets to 94 pitches, gets into a little bit of trouble in the 6th inning. Prado was safe at first on a fielding error by Abreu. Then Taylor struck out, and then is kind of the decision. You got a guy on first, 1 out. What do you do? I thought just with what Tony La Russa has done for the large majority of the season, they would have left Cueto in and just see if he could finish the 6th, and then they would have had 7th, 8th, and 9th to worry about. But here comes Reynaldo Lopez. Reynaldo kind of handles it. He ends up walking Michael Massey to make it a little bit difficult for himself. Ryan O'Hearn then fouled off. Drew Waters reached on catcher's interference, but then Lopez grounded out to first to get out of the inning for Raylo. But interesting to see how Miguel Cairo has been managing this bullpen. I thought it was an early pull for Cueto, but the White Sox win. Nothing got too damaged, so we can't be upset.
What I've been thinking is maybe Miguel is leaning more on the analytics department because he brought in Reynaldo Lopez right there where you said, I would expect Tony to run Cueto out there until the wheels fall off, especially through the 6th inning. Took him out of the game, 5 1/3, good outing for Cueto. Then you get Raylo in there to get out of the 6th inning. Then, surprisingly, in a high-leverage situation, the 7th inning, and the game was still hanging in the balance, he brings in Kendall Graveman. Mm-hmm. I was very shocked. That looks like a move that somebody else would suggest. I don't think Tony would do that. I don't think Tony would bring in Kendall Graveman that early, especially since he's already put Rolando Lopez in the game at that time. So he would probably save Kendall Graveman to the 8th inning. In that situation, I would think he would put in like a lesser guy, like, I don't know, maybe Jimmy Lambert in the 7th, and then go to Kendall Graveman. He put Kendall Graveman in that because it was the top of the order, and he was like, okay, I need these outs, and Kendall's been pitching kind of well, and he got the job done. So I'm thinking Miguel Cairo might be listening to some other people other than Tony would be doing and getting some good information to put in some guys in a higher leverage situation instead of saving them for the 8th inning where the situation might already been passed.
Yeah, especially in that situation before they got the run support in the bottom of the 6th inning when it was a 3-1 game. I thought the bridge would have been Cueto would have finished out that 6th inning, then Raylo, then Graveman, then Hendricks to close out the game. But very interesting that you bring up, him relying on other people, because this is a pregame quote. I've got a good group of coaches. They're going to help me. I'm going to ask them for their opinions, and I'm going to make the decision. But this is teamwork. We're going to do it together, the players, the front office, myself, and the coaching staff. That's from Miguel Cairo, the team's bench coach and currently acting manager. So maybe what you're saying is right. Maybe he's listening to Shelley Duncan, and maybe he's listening to the 5 people in the analytics department of the White Sox, and maybe Rick Hahn is able to have a little bit more of a voice in how these games are managed and roll out. I am a fan of it. A lot of people have been questioning Tony's ability to manage high leverage, and I think this was a good example of how to manage high leverage. This is a close game. It was a 2-run game. You have a guy at 94 pitches. They've seen him. He doesn't have really dominant strikeout stuff. You get a guy on first base that could possibly make it a 1-run game. I like going to the big slider fastball guy in Reynaldo Lopez, and it ended up working for Cairo.
And I'm just thinking, no offense to Tony, but he has, the skins on the wall, and so maybe he is more resistant to listening to other people because of his resume. Miguel Cairo's just doing this. I mean, he's not even getting credit for these wins, as he's the acting manager. These wins still go to Tony La Russa. And he feels, and probably so, he doesn't have a long leash. This is probably an audition. If Tony La Russa was never to come back to the White Sox, there's going to have to be a spot filled up for the White Sox. As a insular organization, Miguel Cairo, if he gets his team somehow to the playoffs, being very, listening to everybody's opinion, especially to Rick Hahn's opinion and the people in the analytics department, will go far. So he has no way to resist against if Rick Hahn says, hey, you should listen to your analytics department a little bit more. That's half of the reason why Ricky Renteria is not here anymore. He wasn't listening enough to his analytics department and playing a game where you're putting your team in the best position to win. Now, if these moves wouldn't have worked with Reynaldo Lopez or Kendall Graveman, I don't think White Sox fans would have a problem with the actual moves because of it put the White Sox in the best position to win. That's all you can ask from a manager, and that's why I thought for the longest time that managers didn't matter too much in wins and losses until this guy, Tony La Russa, showed up this year and actively messed up the White Sox in games. If you're listening to other people who are smarter than you, and that's, I think, a big-time thing with a leader. Leaders know that there are people that are smarter than you, and they know if they are the smartest person in that room, they need to get out of that room. So Miguel Cairo gets credit for listening to other people, or if this is his ideal, hell, I shouldn't, give credit to other people. Maybe Miguel Cairo has an enlightened mind where he's thinking more of a high leverage situation. We should put in Kendall Graveman, and Tony's not listening to him during the seasons where he's the actual manager. And maybe Miguel Cairo's doing the right stuff. So I should give credit to Miguel Cairo for actually making the moves and not pawning it off to other people. So I apologize, Miguel. I know I'm not out here trying to diminish what you have done out here.
So Herb,
yes.
Gave you a little tease at the end of the pregame.
Yes.
Telling you that Lawrence Holmes said something that grabbed my ear yesterday when I was listening to 670 The Score. And he said that what he's heard is that apparently Frank Minikino has wanted to make changes to the way the White Sox approach and the way the White Sox go up to a plate appearance and try to hit the ball. And we had that quote back in April about how the White Sox were getting slided to death and how they needed to work more counts. That is something Frank Minichino said. I think that's the last quotes that have been published by Frank Minichino back in April. And I found it very interesting that, now you look at Tony La Russa not being in that clubhouse. Apparently what Lawrence said was that Tony appreciates the way the White Sox play baseball. He likes the current way that the White Sox approach the plate and hit the ball and make a lot of contact and try to, have guys on base and crowd the bases and stuff like that. So I thought it all to be a little interesting. Frank Minichino wants to make these changes. Tony likes the way the White Sox play. Now with Tony not being there, I wonder if a change is made. I know it's a lot of talk. I know it's a lot of speculation here, but I thought it could be an agent trying to get Frank Minichino a job and being like, oh, no, he wants to change things. He understands how things are going. But B, if that is the truth, Tony's not there in the dugout anymore. If Miguel Cairo's able to make that choice of, hey, we're going to do things differently, high leverage ways, maybe Frank Minichino and the 7 home runs we've seen in this 3-game series could be a sign of something changing.
I would love to do that, but Frank Minichino has a track record. As we showed earlier, his teams hit a lot of singles. The highest singles hitting teams in recent memory are his Marlins teams that he was managing, or he was the batting coach for, and this White Sox team who hits a bunch of singles. They hit a bunch of singles today, but also they hit the ball over the fence. 7 home runs in this 3-game set. Very different from what the White Sox usually do, especially at home. So it's maybe a decent change, and I can't outright dismiss it, but also Minichino has a track record that shows that he has been, his teams have been singles hitters. But if Lawrence and Minichino feel that, hey, this is a chance for me to change it up, a chance for when Tony's out of the thing, I can get into the ear of the players and say, hey, we should do some different things. Hell, they had a players meeting today and just saying, let's have fun. Maybe it's the players just saying, fuck it. Yasmani Grandal said, I'm going to have a little fuck it into my at-bats now. Hit a double today. Would have been a single if it didn't go over the wall. And then directly after that, you see the A.J. Pollock home run. It's good. You see A.J. Pollock now driving the ball. Something's changed with him.
Right.
Maybe it's recently. Remember that quote you said about Steve Stone was like on Tuesday or Monday? I forgot what it was. It was recently, and he has changed in the last 2 or 3 days where he's driving the ball to right field with some actual power.
Yeah, I mean, maybe something. I mean, I'm not sure.
But it could be the Orioles,
AJ
too.
Pollock taking it to right field would be in what we have assumed as Frank Minichito's, hitting approach to make sure that you use the entire field, which is why we've talked about Jose Abreu increasing his opposite field, hit percentage. So, and we've seen the White Sox. I mean, the White Sox lead Major League Baseball in opposite field hit percentage. So I don't know. I think a lot of it. I think it's agent talk. Right, I think that clearly there is a goat in that White Sox locker room. There's clearly a scapegoat, and it's Frank Minichino. Yeah. I would assume any good agent is saying, oh, no, Frank understands what's wrong. But like what you're saying, I mean, even when it just comes for home runs, Frank Minichino's rankings for his teams, 2014, 24th, 2015, 29th, 2016, 29th, 2017, 19th. That's with Giancarlo Stanton hitting 52 home runs, too, in that season for the Marlins. They were still 19th. 2018, they were 30th. 2020, they were 3rd. That was the huge season for the Sox. 2021, 19th. 2022, 26th. I think the White Sox still are in that range there. So I think it could be an agent being like, hey, Frankie's not that bad. It's all Tony.
And Dan from 209 brings a good point. Wasn't there talk that when TLR was hired that he would only be there for a couple seasons and Cairo would kind of be groomed to be the manager when TLR left? I mean, I've heard those things. Like, that's why they picked him as the bench coach, because he's a very smart baseball guy, very sought after. I mean, if this White Sox team, and how they do business, and Tony La Russa was having to step away or resign or get fired after this year, I can definitely see Miguel Cairo stepping into that position because it's the White Sox. They choose people who are already on the team. That's what happened the last time we had a person step aside. By his own admission or by his own volition, it was Robin Ventura. They just put in Ricky Renteria right after him, his bench coach.
Right. I mean, that's basically the kind of line of succession. What was the last White Sox coach to not be a bench coach? Because, I mean, I guess Ozzie, right?
I mean, theoretically, Tony La Russa. But
right.
I'm trying to think of the last White Sox manager that wasn't a White Sox employee before he came here, and that'd probably be Jerry Manuel. I don't know if he was before.
Robin an ambassador?
No, but he was an employee. He worked for the team as a hitter, as a player.
Oh, okay, like past. I got
you.
Like
a guy who was a true outsider, like a guy that you went out, searched for, was not a White Sox before. I think maybe Jerry Manuel.
Yeah, it'd be Jerry Manuel. He never was a player, and then after he was with the Expos, the Marlins. He was bench coach under Jim Leyland in '97, and then 1 month later, he signed a deal with the White Sox. But Jim Leyland's still a White Sox guy.
Yes, exactly. White Sox guy. So it always goes back to old White Sox giving the recommendation to Jerry Reinsdorf, and hey, get this guy. Remember, it was Kenny Williams I think he was gonna hire Cito Gaston to replace Jerry Manuel in 2004. But Jerry Reinsdorf was like, hey, give this Ozzie Guillen a try, see what it is. And Kenny humored Jerry and said, hey, all right, I'll do this interview. And he knocked his socks off, and gladly he got the job.
Well, and another bench coach. he was the Marlins bench coach, right? So just picking off bench coaches. So, I mean, it would be a line of succession for sure. It would make sense. Miguel Cairo, before he came to the White Sox, he was a special assistant to Reds general manager Walt Jocketty in 2013, and then he was the third base coach and bench coach for the Reds. Then he moved to New York to work in player development, and that's where the White Sox hired him. So I don't know if he's here mainly just because of the La Russa connection. And the other thing, too, is I could see Ethan Katz taking the over as manager, because you hear the way they talk about the pitching lab and how Ethan Katz has been so crucial to the pitching lab. I could see them wanting to make that be their main focus, have this young up-and-coming pitching coach who is technologically sound be the manager. I could see that being the succession. I could see it either being Miguel Cairo or Ethan Katz.
Now, all this talk with offense and how the team has responded without Tony La Russa, it goes out the window tomorrow if the Minnesota Twins and Sonny Gray stick it up their giggy. I mean, that could happen, as it always seems to happen, especially at home. So I feel all this stuff and the good feelings we're having right now, it's much better than losing. I still, in my heart of hearts, think this White Sox team will finish in second or third place in the ALCS or the AL Central now, but they're giving a little bit more effort. They're showing a little bit more heart. But some White Sox things showed up today. The 3 errors, we mentioned the Jose Abreu one, the A.J. Pollock one, and I forgot the other one. But sloppy play still persists with this White Sox team.
Catcher's interference is counted as
caught as error. They need to go out and take 2 out of 3 versus the Minnesota Twins this weekend. I know a sweep would be much sweeter, as there are 3 games behind the Minnesota Twins currently, and you can be tied with them. But that's really hard to do, especially I think the Minnesota Twins have 2 out of the 3 better pitching situations in this weekend series.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they're going to be rolling with Davis Martin tomorrow. He is listed as the probable pitcher. It is going to be at the G rate at 7:10. Davis Martin versus Sonny Gray, then Dylan Cease versus Tyler Manley, and then Lucas Giolito versus Dylan Bundy. So you're saying they have the better matchup in Bundy and Gray?
Yes.
Okay. But Tyler Manley, that's an interesting one. I thought that he's been dealing with a shoulder issue. I'm pretty sure he left in his last start on the 17th against the Royals with shoulder injury. So apparently he is able to return. I thought he was going to be out for the entire year. So we'll see what he is like. That's going to be the first time seeing Tyler Manley in a Twins uniform after they acquired him at the deadline. We'll preview the Twins series a little bit more later on in the episode. We are going to be joined by Vinnie Duber very, very, very soon, but we got to tell you about our great friends over at PointsBet. They're counting down the days until football season with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet's Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So sign up with PointsBet now using code CHGO to also get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. If you make a $51 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. So download the PointsBet app today and use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited-time offer. We have some great shirts in the CHGO locker. We have a brand-new QB1 shirt. We have the size C shirt that Herb was rocking yesterday. He's got the full CHGO logo shirt as well. So definitely take advantage of this fantastic PointsBet offer today. Don't just live your bet life. or don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. Herb, where are you going this weekend?
I'm going to Atlanta.
Oh, baby.
I call it my Lanta.
You call it my Lanta?
Because I'll be there.
There you go. You'll be in it. Well, I want you to, I know you already done this, but
yeah,
people should be checking out Gametime, huh?
100%. This week, unprompted from the new Gametime sponsorship, we always, when we went to Detroit, we tried out Gametime to get us inexpensive seats. And then I think we get them every time we go to Guaranteed Rate nowadays. Gametime's a great app. And we tried to get tickets for the Atlanta Braves Marlins game down there in Atlanta. Got some premium seats, awesome seats. And they have 110% buyer guarantee. So if you buy tickets on the site, Gametime, and you see it being in the same row on the same day, in the same section for lower on a different site, they give you 110% of the difference of what you bought it for. And so I bought the tickets. I saw it on a different site after I bought the tickets, and I sent a quick screenshot of what the other site was offering and what I bought them for on Gametime. Immediately, like 12 minutes, I am not kidding, 12 minutes later, they sent me an email. It's like, yeah, Herb, here you go. Here's the difference plus 10% of what you bought. So I got $46 in my credit right now for Gametime. Like, the customer service is great. The seats are great. They show you exactly where the vantage point you're going to get in the seats that you're buying, because, I've never been to Truist Park. And so to see exactly the vantage point is pimp-ass thing. I love Gametime. And they also show you the fees included. You can have a little button right there to show you the fees included, so you know the all-in price.
I don't even need to do the ad read. Herb just did it for you. What are you
telling
waiting
you,
for?
Man. I don't just say this stuff. I use these things. Use the Gametime app. It's awesome.
It's the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Just like Herb is saying, you won't find a better deal this season on Chicago White Sox tickets, because it was created by fans for the fans, and again, it guarantees the lowest price. If you love CHGO, then you'll love Gametime. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. So if you're on YouTube right now, first off, the description's right next to the like button. So hit that like button. Herb's going to show you the Gametime app as well. But click that link in the description, the Gametime app, and you'll be taken to their great website. You'll be able to download the app and join 15 million people who have downloaded the Gametime app and score the best seats to all of your favorite events, like Herb's trip to Atlanta. But if you want to see any of the Twin Sox games this weekend, download that Gametime app and find the lowest prices guaranteed. So thank you for hyping up Gametime like that. Glad you used them, and glad they have great customer service like that too.
Oh man, it's a difference when you actually, like, I was sitting in it, I thought I was going to have to jump through hoops like a regular company. Nah, they was like, you got it, kid. Here's your money. Immediately, 12 minutes after.
That's awesome. That's quick, man. So shout out to Gametime. We appreciate them jumping on as sponsors. We'll be joined by Vinnie Duber in just a second, who talked to Manager of the Year, Miguel Cairo. But just looking back over this 3-game series, 7 home runs in 3 games. I don't want to say, are they back? Because that's a load of crap. And they're going to be going up against, 3 good starting pitchers here in Manley, Bundy, and Gray. But do you think the power continues? Are you getting any vibe at all on the power?
It could just be the lack of quality in the bullpen for the Royals, because that's who they mostly attacked. I mean, they did get to Brady Singer, did not get to Bubic as much. And today with the Mengen, whatever guy's name, I don't know if they got to him too much. They only gave up, 2 runs himself, but eventually got to Brad Keller and the rest of the bullpen. So, yeah, I think that maybe they found something. And maybe this Minakino thing might be true. And maybe this players meeting they had before the game, just like, hey, guys, let's just take the pressure off ourselves and just fake it till we make it. Have some fun today.
Well, let's have some fun with Vinnie Duber. We'll go out to Guaranteed Rate Field and talk to the CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow Vinnie Duber on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. You can also read his great work at allchgo.com. Hello, Vinnie.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Another new spot for you?
Some doors have been locked. It's been roulette in terms of where I'm going to be able to set up. So we're taking what we can get at the moment.
Hey, as long as you're joining us and we can hear you loud and clear, we're all set. How was Miguel Cairo after winning today?
Pleased, obviously. I think, a win is a good one. They're on a little 2-game winning streak here. I don't think you can make too much of one series being won, but they've had so much trouble with the Royals this year that maybe you can, take a little bit more from them finally getting over the hump, so to speak, against this team. You've seen some signs. Obviously. I heard when I joined here, I heard you guys mentioning the power, and you got some home runs in this series. You got some walks in this series. Yasmani Grandal's back if you want to talk about some health maybe returning to these guys, but of course there's a lot of other issues going on in that department. And really this meeting, that was kind of the talk of the day, is the meeting that happened before the game, players only. Didn't really seem like it was anything crazy in terms of content. It's just kind of like, all right, this is the last month of the year. Let's make sure we're all doing what we need to do, be on the same page. But guys looking back on it very positively, and AJ Pollock saying that, it'd be really nice to look back and say that this was the turning point, this little bit here, this series against the Royals. But, as we've learned so often with this team, it's really, let's see how it goes. I mean, the last meeting that happened, produced, or at least was coincidentally aligned with a 5-game winning streak. And then we saw what happened after that. They lost 10 of 12. So, let's not go ahead and say that this is going to be the launching pad. But at the same time, you can't help but look at the math. 4.5 games as we speak. I think the Guardians will be starting in about an hour here or so. It ain't over yet. It ain't over until the math lady sings, so to speak, there, if you'll pardon the terrible joke. It sounded way worse coming out than it did in my head. But the whole point being that, they're not in it till they're not out of it until they're officially out of it. And if they keep winning, if they keep hitting home runs, if they keep walking, that's going to be a big key to getting where they need to go, certainly starting pitching, which has been really good the last 2 days, too.
Sean and I were discussing, Steve Stone had pointed out that A.J. Pollock had been pool happy a couple days ago and subsequently hit into a double play to third base immediately. Now it looks like he's making a concerted effort to drive the ball to right field and to get singles to the right field. I think all of his hits today went to right field, even the one that got robbed. Is it a concerted effort for A.J.? Did he talk about how his approach has changed this week?
Well, I think that he's been one of the guys that has spoken up about how kind of strange it has been, the home power conditions here at this ballpark this year. I think White Sox fans are used to seeing a lot of home run balls fly out of guaranteed right field, and that really hasn't been the case, depending on where you're trying to hit it. If you're a hitter, be it on the White Sox or the opposing team, depending on what part of the park you're trying to get the ball out to, it has not always been so easy this year. So certainly for Pollock to have a couple here in the recent days is a good sign. Andrew Vaughn hit a real long home run today. I think at this point, it doesn't matter where they're going out as long as they are going out. Surely it probably is a little bit more complicated than that in the minds of these hitters who know what they're doing against certain pitches. But in terms of results, as long as it's a home run, that's what this team needs right now, is a little bit more power. And to get what I think it was 7 of them over the last 3 days, that's a step in the right direction for sure.
Well, and he should have had another one, too, and he got robbed at the wall by Drew Waters. So, and the White Sox have gotten robbed in the past couple of games by some outfielders. So that's been frustrating to watch for especially this team that's been so starved of home runs. Speaking of a team that's starved from home runs, they probably need Eloy Jimenez's bat in the lineup. What is the update from Eloy? Fans saw Josh Harrison come in and pinch hit for Eloy, who was already the DH. So what's the update with Eloy? Did he hurt his knee on a swing?
I don't think he hurt it on anything specific. They were just saying that it was sore. And obviously, remember that right leg is where he had the surgery done. And what have we been hearing ever since before he even came back, which is just, hey, this is going to happen from time to time. He's got to learn how to get used to it. And maybe he is not used to it yet, or at least not all the way used to it, where he is going to be able to play through certain things there. So, sore legs we've been hearing with Eloy ever since he came back. There's been a concerted effort by the team to make sure that he does not turn soreness into an injury. And you've seen him been given days off. You've seen him play a lot at DH. And I think that'll probably continue, as his legs are probably not 100%. In this case, it was so not 100% that they took the precautionary move of removing him from the game and making sure that he didn't have to run on him again.
Johnny Cueto looked great again after a little hiccup last week versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. What do you say worked today? And he's been phenomenal this year. It's a testament to his work ethic and his learning how to pitch and knowing how to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think really one thing that jumps out to you, and he did it again today when he had that, second and third situation, one
Yep.
out, gets a couple of line drives. Now, granted, those balls were hit pretty well, but they were hit in the right spot. Johnny Cueto has a knack of escaping those jams, of kind of figuring out when trouble is going on the base paths, how to get out of it. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go and strike everybody out, but being able to pitch to your defense is obviously a big skill. This guy knows how to pitch, as you mentioned. I mean, he's a guy who's been doing this for a long time, so long, in fact, that he was teammates with the White Sox acting manager back in Cincinnati. How about that? But I mean, listen, this was just more of what White Sox fans have gotten used to seeing from him today. Only one run on the board. You're not used to seeing only 5.1 innings, but he said after the game, come on, you can't go 7 or 8 every single time. And he's right, even though he's mostly gone 6+ every single time. So as long as he's effective, they can turn it over that bullpen. And I don't know about you, but the last 2 nights, how about Miguel Cairo with the pitching changes? He is at a Tito Francona level of pitching changes right now.
Well, so we wanted to ask you about that just because we were kind of surprised. I was surprised that he got pulled in the 6th inning at 94 pitches. That kind of seemed like, if this was Tony, he might have rode Cueto until the end of the 6th inning if he could get through it, and then you would have had 3 more innings to probably put Reynaldo Lopez, Kendall Graveman, and then Hendricks in, especially at that time. It was still a 3-1 game. So did Cairo speak a little bit about these pitching changes and what has been the process of when to pull guys or how he's pulling guys?
Well, specifically to Cueto today, he did say that, he just kind of saw that he was almost out of gas. He looked at his face while he was out there in the 6th inning and said, all right, that's enough. In general, it was humorous, actually. I think it was on Monday night or yesterday? Can't remember. But he was asked kind of what he has learned from Tony, or like, how is Tony going to influence your managerial style? This was after the game. And he said, oh, my God, I was out there making pitching changes like crazy. Like, it was almost like something he was trying to do to be like Tony. And I know, White Sox fans have gotten used to seeing certain things this year, specifically from Tony. I think maybe it could be the time of the year, too. And this is just me, thinking about this since you asked me the question. There's been so much made of trying to keep these relievers ready and strong to get through to the end of the season, to get to the part of the year when they really need to use them so much. Who's saying this isn't that time? Who's saying that, if Tony La Russa was still in the dugout, or whether it's Miguel Cairo now, this is what they were waiting for. And they need – the players' meeting today was all about how this might be their last chance to figure this out. And, as a cart goes by me, I'm going to mute this when I'm done talking here so you can muse. But I think this is the stretch run, and they got to do what they got to do.
I got a question that's not really baseball related, but it happened to you. You're in the area. Jose Abreu hits a rocket shot into the press box up on the 4th floor, and our guy James Fegan from The Athletic catches the ball. First question, was it hit really hard? And then second question, did he save your life?
He saved my shin. Okay. So I sit elevated behind James. So James sits right in front of me. And I mean, honestly, he didn't get up. He just did this. And caught the ball right in his lap. It was incredible. I said it was the most athletic thing that's ever happened in that press box, and I'm 100% confident that that's the case. The
Dutchman, no? He hasn't done anything.
Well, he hasn't had an opportunity to make a play like that. That's for sure. But yeah, tremendous work by James there. And yeah, it was a screamer. It came in hot. Yeah, it was. we were pretty much giving him crap for the rest of the game. That How dare this was a YouTube broadcast and not an NBC Sports Chicago? They would have captured that on film and then had him in with Jason and Steve for 2 innings talking about that, I would imagine.
Did his hand hurt? Did he have like lines on his hands from the ball? I mean, I'm surprised that anyone is going to stick out their hands and catch a liner like that. So shout out to James for taking one for the team there.
And he gave a ball to a kid afterward too. So he hit for the foul ball cycle today.
Well, James, I also saw threw the ball down to the kid and then bus tossed the kid on Twitter saying the kid dropped the ball. So classic James.
Gotta make the play.
Before we get to the 2 guys that aren't with the team right now, one being in Arizona and then one traveling to be with the birth of his son, I just did want to ask about Eloy and finalize some stuff with it. He hasn't played the outfield since Friday the 26th, mainly has been a DH since. Do you just expect Eloy to probably be 90% DH? Have they talked about his outfield usage and if that will increase or decrease? Just because now they're managing Luis Robert and his wrist injury. They're now managing Eloy Jimenez and his knee injury. We saw on Sunday Eloy pinch hit, and then Luis Robert pinch ran for Eloy. So they're kind of, balancing it, at bat by at bat and situation by situation. So do you expect a lot of Eloy in the outfield the rest of the year?
No, I think he's going to mostly be a DH. I mean, they've talked about it, saying that, guys, he's got sore legs, and if he runs a lot, that's gonna affect that. That's gonna make it, if not worse, it's gonna keep it where it's at. And I think the best thing that they can do for him probably is limiting his running to only running the bases. I mean, we've heard that being said about Andrew Vaughn on days when he's gotten a breather. It's because the sore legs that he had earlier in the season and that he obviously dealt with toward the end of last season when he ran out of gas physically. Tony has said he played the outfield. He ran around a lot in the outfield. That sounds silly to people, I understand, because they're like, oh, these are professional baseball players and that's their job is to run around in the outfield. But human being, no matter how good a shape you're in or what your job is, you run around in the outfield, your legs are going to, if they're already sore, are going to stay that way. So, I don't expect to see him do much more playing in the outfield this season, and DH is probably likely where he's going to be so they can make sure that his bat stays in the lineup.
I saw something you tweeted out earlier about Jake Burger. Can you tell our folks about the latest on Jake Burger and his injury?
Yeah, I mean, this is from a few weeks ago at this point, but I didn't get much attention, obviously. He has a fractured wrist. He's on the IL down there. And so as people have kept wondering why not Jake Burger to come up in the event of some of these injuries, he's not available. He's on the injured list. Obviously when Yohan Moncada went down, that would have been the opportunity to do so. But certainly people are asking the same question with the way Luis Robert has been. If you have to make it a position player because of the roster rules, why not make it a guy who's hit for power for you, who's had a good showing when he's been up here at the major league level? He's not available. He's hurt. A fractured wrist is a serious injury, obviously, more so than the soreness that we keep talking about with some other guys. So he's not available, and it really goes back to the whole thing that we've been talking about for the last few days now with Robert. Why wasn't Robert put on the IL? Why didn't they IL Robert? What are they doing? 2 games over a 10-game span with the possibility of Robert playing is more valuable to this White Sox team than going 10 days to make sure that there's one more guy on the bench that you're hardly ever going to use if it means no Robert for 10 days. That's the bottom line right now, and that's the way they're operating. That's how they've operated. If you don't agree with it, that's fine, but they don't really have a guy, especially since Jake Burger can't come up and hit, they don't really have a guy who they can call up and say, oh, man, you'd way rather have that guy than an injured Luis Robert.
Yeah, Burger got injured. He got hit on the hand, so then that ended up fracturing his wrist. So, I mean, that might be a very, very long road back for him to come back. So I don't know if he's going to be on this team. But just to kind of whiteboard it for people, too, because we kind of jumped into this Luis Robert conversation. Luis Robert is still an active member of the White Sox, but he is going to take a leave from the team to be at the birth of his child. He's not going to go on the paternity list, but with September coming around on September 1st, the roster's expanded to 28. There is a max of 14 pitchers, so the White Sox called up Matt Foster from AAA and then Adam Hazley to be an outfielder. So basically they have a 28-man roster with 27 actual active players with Luis Robert, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's correct until Luis Robert comes back. They don't expect it to be long. Sometimes, you go on the paternity list and it's a week-long thing. They don't expect it to last that long. They are hopeful there's a possibility he's back by the weekend. I mean, tomorrow is Friday, but I guess before the end of the weekend, you would say. Yeah.
Sunday's still the weekend.
And we saw a comment from Max up there, and there was a brief glimpse at Michael Kopech in the dugout. He looks like he has a handlebar mustache. And firstly, did you see it? And then secondly, what's the status of him returning to the White Sox?
Unfortunately, on the latter, which I'm sure is the thing people mostly care about, there's really no new info. Miguel Cairo was asked about it today and just basically said he's doing good. So there's not really a lot of specifics there. I have seen the mustache. It is a horseshoe. It is very nice. It looks very nice. It's if you're a if you're a Hulk Hogan fan, you would appreciate the mustache, and then you throw in his hair, which is now down past his armpits. It is quite the look. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out Michael Kopech for that, because during the pandemic, as I think I've brought up on this show before, I grew the horseshoe myself. Didn't look very good, but we have some early pictures of me and my now wife dating, and the first picture we have together, my mustache is all the way down here, and it looks just atrocious.
It worked.
Yeah.
I think things worked out in spite of the mustache.
It worked out because Claire just loves you. Is it Lemmy style, like Lemmy of Motorhead style? Would you compare it to? Is it kind of tighter? I mean, you said Hulk Hogan. Is that kind of the closest comp you can give to the mustache?
Yeah, it looked like, obviously, he had the beard. Michael had the beard going, so it looks like he just kind of did this, wiped away the beard, and that's kind of there. So he did it right. You know what you mean? That's the way you're supposed to do a horseshoe mustache. Some of us just grew the horseshoe mustache by itself and kept shaved the whole time, and that was not the way to go. So good job by Michael doing things the right way.
Absolutely. And then final one, we just want to check in on Tony, if there has been any update or if there's an update on when we'll be updated.
There has been no update to this point. There is kind of a loose update to when we'll be updated, which is maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, maybe before the end of the weekend. I think basically the expectation is we should be hearing sooner rather than later, maybe just more information. And I think we haven't heard from Rick Hahn on the subject. The idea the White Sox don't want to, elaborate until they have more information, which I can kind of understand. I don't think that's, you want to go out there and say a whole ton of things and then you get back to your office and, it's all changed kind of thing. So I get that you would want to wait till you had more information to speak on things, and maybe they'll have as much information as how long they would expect him to be out or whether they expect him to come right back. I think they're waiting for those tests that he went to Arizona to have done to come through and kind of provide some more clarity on what his situation is.
All right, and make sure to follow Vinnie Duber. If there's any word from the White Sox on that clarity on the Tony La Russa situation, he will have those updates for you on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. And again, make sure to check out his work at allchgo.com. Appreciate it, Vinnie.
All right, guys, take it easy.
You too. And Sox Haps is right. If a girl will date you with a horseshoe mustache, that's real love. My girl has put up with enough of my awful facial hairs.
I think it's
awful
the opposite.
Haircuts.
Facial hair is good. If somebody dates you without facial hair, like I looked at myself without facial hair, I was like, "Ooh, friends, what's going on there?" Looks like a child.
But I think a beard. Beard is. Especially when I was younger, like a beard was never in style. Like it was always, clean shaven and stuff like that. And then it felt like in 2011 started building up. But like now, especially after college, it's been everyone has a beard, and if you don't have a beard, you're weird.
Everybody has a beard. Everybody gets tattoos. That's half the reason I didn't get a tattoo. It's because Then I pretty much had this when I think the No Shave November thing happened in 2020 or maybe 2019. And then I shaved it off after, when it hit December, because I think it's cheating if you just keep the No Shave November beard. And I started anew, and this is what it has. It's salt and pepper. I'm old.
It's real nice.
And so that's the only reason I have this beard is because somebody challenged me for the No Shave November thing, and I did it.
You got any salt in your hair?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
I need to, when I get the blonde, it'll be there. Or the frosted tips. If you guys know anybody with frosted tips, after I get back from Atlanta,
yeah. Well, hey,
somebody hook me up with some blonde, and then I'll do a 2-for-1. I'll have it blonde for a little bit, and then I'll shave it all off.
They got hairstylists down in Atlanta. Don't be afraid to stop it. Ronald Acuna's got some wacky ass hair down there. You could figure. I think he's dyed his hair like Luis before, so you could find somebody.
I've dyed my hair before. Back in the early 20s, it was mahogany. It was like more brownish red.
Are you serious?
Yeah, my friend.
You were like a redhead.
Yeah, my friend Melissa thinks it was more blonde. So I've been kind of blonde in my early 20s.
Do you have photos?
No, we don't have photos back in the day. And I wouldn't let people take pictures of me back then, so no.
And hey, Wayne speaking the truth here. I keep my facial hair to hide the wrinkles. I keep my facial hair to hide the chin, the fat on my chin. A beard can hide anything. I want to let you know about PointsBet Sportsbook. There's no hiding from the PointsBet Power Hour from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time until September 8th, until the football season kicks off. The PointsBet Power Hour will be unlocking a new offer every single day. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. Today, they gave you a free college football bet. They gave you $2 to put on any college football game that you wanted, but you needed to do it from the hours of 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Lawrence, producer of CHGO Bears, Blackhawks, I think he also does the Fire and Red Stars as well. He was on it at 12:59. Trying to make his pick. I don't know who to pick. 1 o'clock came around. The bet came out. So you got to be on the app from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Time. Take advantage of those free bets and get after it. Download the PointsBet app today. Use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. And don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. Justin Donahue joining a little bit late, asking, did anyone get hurt today? Aloy did, and the Sodfather did. The Sodfather is out with hernia surgery. You missed that?
Oh, I did miss that.
Man with the golden rake.
Mercy, I tell you what. Get better, Sodfather.
Yes, mercy.
You need your hernia.
We need help. So the White Sox taking on the Twins Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7:10 on Friday, 6:15 on Saturday. That one's on Fox. And then September 4th on Sunday, it's Davis Martin versus Sonny Gray, Dylan Cease versus Tyler Manley, and Lucas Giolito versus Dylan Bundy. Right now, the Orioles lead 2-0 in Cleveland. And if you take a look at the Major League standings right now, the White Sox do sit 4.5 games back of the Guardians, 65 and 66. The Twins are 67 and 62. They're 1.5 games back of the Guardians, who are 68 and 60. The Twins have an off day today. No Kenta Maeda for the rest of the year for the Twins, and Byron Buxton still sore. He will stay in Minnesota to rehab when the team leaves for a road trip. That starts on Friday. So no Byron Buxton for the Twins. They do get Tyler Manley. How are you feeling about this Twin series coming up?
I'm feeling, I wish I could feel positive. Because when you have that feeling of, okay, here we go. We're 1-2 in a row. We won the series versus the Royals. Feels good that the team is finally starting to hit. 7 runs in the loss they had the other day, 7 runs today. Feeling a little bit better. And I know we have some good pitchers out there. Now, Lucas Giolito is not great, but versus Minnesota, he ramps it up a little bit. That's, I think, this team that he plays well against the most in his career. So we have a couple of good things going for the White Sox, but I cannot put my trust in this team until they show it to me. Go out and get 2 out of 3 and play good. And play well the whole series. You know, you lose that one game, and you still played well. You can live with that. Winning 3 in a row where you looked bad, no, I can't do that. Because then you know what's going to happen when you go out there to Seattle and lose 3 in a row there. And we know the house of horrors that Oakland has been for the White Sox historically. So winning 2 out of 3 versus the Minnesota Twins sets you off on that West Coast trip in the correct way, and then you have a little momentum. Then you have the fun that they were looking for in the pregame speech they had in the players-only meeting. This is the most vital, important series of the year because this is the start of the 9 games you have left with the Minnesota Twins, who are currently 3 games ahead of the White Sox.
Yes, and hey, if you're 3 games ahead right now, I don't know, a sweep sounds nice. Sweep sounds like it put you in a pretty good spot, no?
It would.
Hey, so there you go.
Right there in second place with the Minnesota Twins.
Especially if the Orioles lose tonight, or if the Orioles win. And
you know how they scored the runs today?
No, I don't.
Already? Solo shot to start off the game from our guy, Sid Mullins.
My guy.
Then a guy got out, and then my guy that I won on the White Sox, Anthony Santander, took Shane Bieber deep. Probably he was pitching out there like Justin Bieber.
Let's go.
Both home runs were on the first pitch of the at-bat as well.
There you go. So first pitch swinging on Shane Bieber works. Maybe the White Sox can take some tips. You mentioned Lucas Giolito versus the Twins, 4.33 career ERA, but in 2022, 1 start, 2.25 ERA. He did have to leave that start with an injury, I believe. And then in 2021, a 2.05 ERA in 3 games started. In 2020, it was kind of iffy. He did give up a lot of home runs, 5 home runs in 3 starts against the Twins, but 2019, a 3.24 ERA, and he had that complete game shutout on August 21st in 2019 at Minnesota. And
then this year, right before the All-Star break, he shoved versus the Minnesota Twins going into the All-Star break where the White Sox were feeling great about themselves.
So that must have been the 4-inning outing that I saw, because I thought he injured himself
this year
in Minnesota. Yeah, he did not pitch against Minnesota. He's only pitched once against Minnesota this year.
I could swear that he pitched for his Minnesota this year, and which LG showed up.
No, after he injured himself on April 8th in the opener against Detroit, he made his return against Minnesota, going 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts.
Maybe I got dementia.
I don't know if you have dementia. I don't know if it's that serious.
I could have swore it was like July. No.
July. It looks like Kopech, Lynn, and Cease pitched against him right before the All-Star break, and then also Cueto pitched against them.
I have dementia, guys.
Giolito just got missed. Giolito was good the day before on July 13th. He won 2-1 against the Guardians, and then the next day they started a 4-game stretch against the Twins. So maybe I'm just
mixing my teams up.
Maybe you're just mixing
Guardians
those teams
and the weird-ass Minnesota Twins look alike.
Yes, but the fact that the White Sox have this opportunity without the Twins having Byron Buxton, this needs to be 2 out of 3 or a sweep. And I know we've said that, probably every series since April. But, I mean, truly, the math is going to start running out for you at some point.
Yeah.
And Eloy Jimenez now dealing with this injury.
Again.
Luis Robert dealing with his injury and not going to be with his team likely on Friday. Justin John who's saying hopefully Luis Robert is back this series. I would doubt it. I mean, maybe Sunday, but I don't see it happening. And again, how healthy can he be and how much can he actually contribute? The thing that worries me about this whole Eloy thing is, Vinny talked about it. Like, Andrew Vaughn was needed to be watched for his legs.
Yeah.
So did Eloy Jimenez. Now they are managing Eloy Jimenez's legs. Does that mean they stop managing Andrew Vaughn's legs because all he has done is played the outfield because Eloy hasn't? So that just worries me that Andrew Vaughn, the guy who has struggled with leg soreness, is going to have more sore legs. Hey, hit a bomb today, so I don't know if I could be too critical here, but I guess that's my main worry hearing all this stuff about Eloy is it's just going to cause more of a domino effect. If Luis Robert's hurt, well, that means Eloy Jimenez needs to take on more of a brunt. And then if Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez are hurt, well, then that means that Andrew Vaughn's going to need to play left field, and that's an adventure in its own right.
I think, and we're getting back to Luis Robert, I would love for him to just take off the whole road trip. So Minnesota this weekend, then they go to Seattle and Oakland. Take off. Firstly, because the risk is still not 100%. Secondly, because his family is more important than this White Sox team or any team. Get to meet your kid. Get to bond with your kid in his or her initial days. Like, this should be, and this is a thing that, a crusade against. Luckily, A.J. Pollock got hurt in that game before he got on paternity leave because he got a chance to go back home, witness the birth of his child, his second child, and spend some time. The mother just gave birth to the child. I'm sure she would like to have a little, time to rest and get her body back together. And it's also a good time for you to bond with your child. I've never had children, but I would be damned if they told me to get back to work 3 days after my wife had a child. I'll be like, man, go bump all that nonsense. I'm going to go and see my child. Now, this is the precious moments that I know my team needs me. But damn it, what am I going to do? Sit in that dugout for 8 innings and they're going to make me a pinch runner like I'm goddamn Benny Rodriguez?
Right. And
bump all that. I'm staying where I'm at.
And then
I'll see y'all when I see y'all.
Let's say that game that you put Luis Robert in the 9th inning to be a defensive replacement. I don't know. Maybe the White Sox blow that game. The bullpen blows that game. Happened before. What happens if he comes up for another at-bat? Do you let him swing?
No.
Right. So what do you're going to put him in play defense for 2 innings maybe and then put in Adam Engel to play? Like, fuck this team, man. Like,
I mean, it's more of a baseball thing where they only give people 3 days for paternity leave. It's just dumb. I understand you want to win all the games, but goddamn it, family comes first. And if he can't play, and they're not putting him on the paternity leave, hopefully for his own sake so he can go and meet his kid and have a good time, let him just go. And if I was Luis, like, I ain't coming back. My wrist still hurts.
Right.
And my child is here. I'm kicking it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
they made Tim, when the birth of his kids, he slept on the couch of the hospital because he wanted to be right there for Bria. He wanted to be there to see the birth of his child and also, hold her for the first time, skin to skin contact, the bonding that you can't get back. Instead of being here in fucking Chicago, sitting on a bench, eating sunflower seeds and fucking going somewhere else. And then, you need to be pinch run? Cool. Go out there.
Well, and I think the main thing that shocks me with this is Luis Robert born August 3rd, 1997. I was born August 1997. So this man is the same age as me having a kid. What are you doing? You're 25 years old. Knock it off.
I mean, if you're a supreme athlete, I'll be having kids too at 25. I would have been having kids at like 18. But
guy's got the bankroll, but that's a headache, kids. You kidding me?
He can take care of them, man. Ask your man Nick Cannon. He should not be. He's about my age, and man's got about 10 kids. Stop it.
No, that man's going. Hey, Nick Cannon got to work, dog.
Hey, man.
Sox app says.
Hey, man, always take a raincoat out there. It's raining.
Oh, boy. All right, let's talk real quick about our beloved Jose Abreu because we have some concerns. Herb was sitting up here talking about Jose Abreu stinking with runners on third. I forget the exact moment, but Abreu ended up striking out, and it wasn't to start the inning.
It was with one out, I remember.
Yeah, so Vaughn singled to – no, he struck out a couple times in this game, so we got to find the exact moment. Okay, so Andrews walked. Then Andrews advanced to second. This is in the bottom of the fifth. Andrews advanced to second on a wild pitch. Then Vaughn grounded out to first base, pushing Andrews to third. So Abreu came up with one out, Andrews on third, and then he struck out. So I want to look at what Jose Abreu has done run value-wise with runners on third base, and we'll go month by month, okay? We'll go month by month through his entire career. These are the months that Luis Robert has had a negative run value when there is a runner on third, at least a runner on third. So that means, there could be two outs, runner on second and third, runner on first and third, bases loaded, just a runner on third, like this situation. And what I want you to look at, again, these are all of the months that have been 0 or negative for Jose Abreu, is how many times 2020 pops up. It's the first one. It's the lowest one, negative 5.1 run value in July 2022. Not good. August 2022, negative 3.3 run value.
That's the second one. Wow.
Then you go down 42nd, and that's ranked from 48 to 1. Okay. So 42nd, March, April 2022, minus 1.4. That's probably not good. May 2022, that pops up at 36 there, minus 0.5. That's not good. Oh, and then June 2022, minus 0.2. So basically, this entire year, whenever Jose Abreu has had a runner on third, he has been worth negative runs. And today, when he has an opportunity in September, he strikes out. What do you make of this?
It could be a player getting older. I mean, you saw most of that was concentrated on 2022. We saw in 2020, whenever the opportunity to drive in a run was available, Jose Abreu was getting the job done. Whatever he needed to do, go the other way, put the ball in the air with a sac fly, put the ball over the fence, he would get the job done. Maybe this is age. Maybe he is pressing too hard, as this is his walk year. This is a White Sox team that is struggling. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself as a team leader and an RBI getter. And all this stuff is culminating into a bad year where all the months this year have been piss poor as far as that specific situation with a runner on third base. Yeah, I mean, Clark is a good point. Maybe you try him as leadoff guy. He has a high on base. He has a good high on base percentage. And yes, it might sound far fetched, but they've had other players that are much slower than Jose Abreu and Yasmani Grandal up at the leadoff guy. Andrew Vaughn, I think, has hit leadoff a couple times. The man gets on base via the walk or via singles. Maybe it's something to think about, because if he's not coming through in the RBI situations this year, which he isn't, you have to change something up. He probably wouldn't be too comfortable or good with that, but he's a team player, and maybe he can see that his numbers, while he's got 61, I think, RBIs on the year, are way down from where his normal numbers are, and it's because he's struggling in the situations he usually has.
Well, and two, I think the main thing is, I mean, he's still the best hitter on the team, as Alex Potno says. I mean, he's still coming through in moments, but it's those clutch moments. And again, what is the word that we've heard coming out of the White Sox locker room this entire year? Pressing. And why are they having a players-only meeting about having fun? Because they're pressing. Every single player on this team is pressing. And I think that's why you're not finding this consistent run from the Sox, because every single at-bat, they feel like they need to be that guy. And I think, I mean, whenever you see a home run, it feels like these guys are relieved. Like, oh, it finally happened. Like, A.J. Pollock hits it. You see him in the dugout, and it's like, oh, man, thank God. Andrew Vaughn with his crazy-ass hair, like, oh, thank God that finally went out. I hit my 15th home run this year. He leads the team with 15 home runs. Clearly, there's an issue. Someone's pressing. They're all pressing. Like, I don't know. I don't think Jose's this bad, but when he's driven in 100 RBIs, has been the MVP, we're talking about a retired number, this might be his final year, I could absolutely see him just putting so much pressure on himself, especially in moments where there is a guy 90 feet away. And he's probably thinking, all I have to do is put bat on the ball. And he's probably just up there overthinking it and just not being able to be that same guy that he is when that pressure's off, right?
Yeah. They say hitting is contagious and maybe struggling is contagious. Pressing is contagious, and you see it with this team. The 2022 Chicago White Sox have been pressing, and they are a huge chase rate team. So when those runners are on base at third base, we saw Jose Abreu striking on a ball that never even reached the plate. It was way below the zone, and he was just trying so hard to put bat on ball that he was going to be swinging at anything. He was in swing mode. And so, yes, pressing might be part of it, and he's 35 years old on the other side of his prime. So maybe this year, as a 35-year-old, he's starting to show a little wear and tear. He's been playing baseball since his teens in Cuba, so maybe a little bit more professional baseball, mind you, since his teens. So it may be than a regular player who has only been playing, an American player who's only been playing professional baseball since his 20s, early 20s, or mid-20s. Jose Abreu's been playing baseball for about 20 years professionally, so I would give him a little leeway as far as falling off the table and his body wearing down.
Yeah, and Steven, can we scroll up real quick? I want to apologize because apparently I confused people because I had a little Vinnie LaRussa moment. PB saying, Abreu discussion was confusing, Sean. You said, let's look at Luis Robert and then look at when 2020 pops up. I think I got the gist. What we showed you was Jose Abreu's splits by month since he's been in the major league since 2014. And what I was trying to show you is it was all the months that were either at 0 run value or negative. And what has shown up is whenever Jose Abreu has a runner on third in 2022, his run value that month is negative. So he's had, I think, about 12 entire months of 0 or negative run value with a runner on third. And what we have seen is every single month this year has been negative. So that's all I was trying to say. Sorry for any of the confusion. Final thing, want to go to our win 60, lose 60, and what happens with the other 42 at this White Sox. We haven't updated it too much, but here you go. The White Sox have won 47, they have lost 48, and their other 18 and 18. So they have 6 more of those deciding games here, and they have about, about 13 more wins to rack up and about 12 more losses. So if the White Sox go 13, 2, and 6-0, White Sox are probably going to the playoffs. The White Sox go 13, 12, and 3-3, they're a 500 team.
Exactly. I mean, they are currently 1 game behind 500, and you see the wins and losses, and the other 60 are right there with it. So this is a 500 team as of ever. They're probably going to get 500 again tomorrow and then fall off the table one of these days again, go back either 2 games under, 2 games over. You know, the White Sox, they love to just teeter the line, going back 3 games, going up 5 games, going back to 3. I hope they just go on a run right there.
They'll need to
have a little fun, as they said. A little fuck it, a little fun.
Well, and here's the thing. All you need to look for is a run of 6 straight wins or something along that line. Because, yes, they're going to win 60, but I think if they give you that much of a push, at least some little edge there, they're going to at least go probably 500. It's just really those 6 games there that matter. Because, again, the whole saying is you go 60, you win 60, you lose 60, it's the other 42. If the White Sox are able to go 6-0 in those other 42 games, they will be 6 games above 500, and they will be the American League Central champion. So, I mean, they can go 5-1, 4-2, as long as it's not 3-3. And even 4-2 is kind of that danger area there. So the White Sox are able to go 5-1, 6-0, and those other 42, the final other 42, the White Sox will probably be your AL Central champions. And Herb and I will be with you for each and every game, basically. We have Friday and Saturday off, but we will be with you on Sunday. Herb's going to be out in Atlanta. Jared Willis is going to be joining me here in studio, so that should be fun. Have fun down in Hotlanta with you and Courtney. Enjoy the Braves game. Follow Herb on Twitter at Ecknerwall23 and see all of his pictures at his great game time seats at Truist Park.
Damn straight.
on Friday and Saturday. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Vinnie Duber for joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. Thank you to all of you guys for hanging out with us and participating in our chat. And thank you to Stephen Nicholas for his production of this show. Thank you to Fleetwood Mac also for their 1979 album Tusk. We will talk to you on Sunday. Go White Sox.